Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Skill Snippet, where we'll be talking a little bit about how to provide our partner with a reflective response. And if you've tuned into some of our earlier snippets, you may remember that a reflective response is just one of 5 of the skills that are used to make up reflective listening. But I think it's worthwhile for us to spend a little bit more time on it today. You see, when we're listening to our partner, one of our goals is to be able to provide a reflective response at the end. And those responses include what we think the person might be feeling and a summary of the facts that they're providing. So for example, you sound really hurt by the fact that your friend canceled plans again. Or it's got to be incredibly overwhelming even to begin thinking about how you're going to get all your work done once the kids start school from home. Or you've got to feel so incredibly proud. I can tell that you've put a lot of work into that project. These responses, when we're able to provide them to our partner, achieve a few different things. First, it shows the person that we are listening, that we're really working to understand where they're coming from. It also allows the person with an opportunity to correct us if maybe we didn't get it right. Well, maybe I'm not actually hurt. I think that because they've canceled plans a 4th time, I'm really just mad. I'm like, great, now we get it, right? Now we can better empathize and understand where that person is coming from. Which brings me to the 3rd point, empathy. This is a great way when we use these reflective responses to actually demonstrate empathy to our partner. Even if we're feeling it internally, we might be missing the impact for our partner when we're not willing to share that back with those reflective responses. Now you have to remember with empathy that it's really about seeing it as the other person sees it and feeling it as they feel it, which is very different than how would I feel if I were in that situation? How would I respond in that situation? Empathy means that we are taking everything that we know about our partner, their fears, their triggers, their concerns, the things that they're proud of, the things that they're happiest about, their values, and taking all of that into account, trying to imagine how are they feeling right now? How might they be experiencing this moment or the moment that they're sharing with us? The thing that's really important to remember is that we don't have to agree with the way that our partner reacts in order to acknowledge the reality of it. Now, over the years, I've had many people share with me that they can feel like using reflective responses, especially at first, can feel really awkward and clunky, almost comical at times. So if you are experiencing that, you are not alone. You're in great company. The thing is, you are practicing and learning a new skill, and that can take time. It's also a very unique gift that a lot of people aren't used to hearing. So even if you get to the point where you're using it enough that it starts to feel more natural, sometimes when people first hear it, it can catch them off guard. Because for a lot of people, they're not used to people really listening well to them, really taking the time to make sure that they got it right and are understanding where they're coming from. Now, I'm guessing that most of us at some point in our lives have had the experience of watching a toddler first learning how to walk. And it can seem incredibly unstable and awkward and really clumsy. And yes, at times just flat out comical. But the thing is, the toddler is working so hard to reach a goal of independent walking. And we all know that at some point that walking becomes incredibly fluid and natural and done without a lot of thought on their end. And I think new communication skills can feel like that at some point they're just going to start to become a part of who we are the more that we practice them. My husband Jonathan and I were talking with a group of our Community Listens alumni a few years ago. And after being asked, he kind of talked about how it really felt awkward for him the first few times that he started using reflective responses, especially early on. And someone kind of laughed and said, I feel like anytime my husband used one of these phrases, I would just think, oh, I know exactly what you're doing. And a lot of people in the room laughed and nodded in agreement. But over time, that phrase has really stuck with me, that I know exactly what you're doing. Because the thing is, when Jonathan did start using reflective responses with me at first, I did. I knew exactly what he was doing. I knew that he was putting in the work to understand my perspective. I knew that he was giving me his attention and valuing the words that I was speaking. I knew that he was giving me his best guess at understanding me and then giving me space to correct that if he hadn't understood it the right way. What I knew was that he was learning and working to know me better. So yes, I would agree that the class was completely right. As you and your partner practice these reflective responses, and at times one of you throws one out that basically sounds like the verbal equivalent of a toddler stumbling and falling flat on their face, you will both indeed know exactly what the other person is doing. And I hope that as a result of that, you feel incredibly cared for. Thank you for listening to this month's Skill Snippet.